Can I just say one thing firstly? I love the name Eat Sleep Boxing Repeat.
Welcome back to ESBR Boxing's YouTube channel in partnership with sharpbetting.co.uk, your home for betting tips and analysis on all sports. Please click the link in the description to find out more if you want more analysis about bets you're thinking of placing, or just betting tips in general, and lots of other fun stuff. Please do click on that link. Thomas, good to be joined by you again. Busy times in the boxing world, both in the UK and the US, and in other places as well, of course. Sebastian Fundora returns after a year out the ring to take on Chordale Booker in Las Vegas this weekend. Thomas, as always, we'll go straight into it. Not going to say anything else. We'll go into maybe betting odds and percentages a bit later in the video. What is your final prediction for this fight?
Yeah, I see Sebastian Fundora winning this one pretty easily, to be honest. Um, I I'm picking him to win by stoppage somewhere around the middle rounds, probably 6 or 7. He's not really the biggest puncher, I'd say, so I don't think he's gonna you know, spark him out earlier or anything, but I do think that especially now, just given that he has the titles and everything. I think that that'll increase his confidence to the point where he's on another level, and I think that he will show that against Booker, and Booker really just on paper there isn't really a whole lot there. So yeah, it would be hard for me to pick against Fundora at all in this one.
Yeah, for sure. Look, some of these videos we do, it's really difficult to pick a winner. It's a 50-50 fight. This isn't one of those fights. But we're still here. And look, Fundora, I could say to you, this is a year out the ring since that kind of brutal fight again he had against Tim Zhu a year ago. One thing we'll get onto a bit later is how easily is he making 154? And this is Chordell because kind of this is his moment. You know, he's 33 years old now, might not get another big opportunity after if he were to lose this fight. So we'll see what happens. Of course, we just want to bring up our partners, sharpbetting.co.uk. Thomas, they've asked a lot. They've asked people. They've asked their connections who they're picking for this fight. 88% of their viewers have gone for Thunder, not 100%, but 88%, and they have seen odds of Booker to win at 8-1. Just could I get your thoughts on that price, please, Thomas? 8 to 1 for Booker just to win. Does that kind of give you an indication of a fair indication of how much an underdog he is? Do you think those odds should be wider? Should it be kind of 10-1, 12-1, something like that, or should they be a bit shorter in your opinion?
I think perhaps those are about right. I know, like I feel pretty confident that Fundora will win, and he's still a significant underdog. But one thing to mention is, the thing about Fundora is, his chin has been touched before, and he's been put out. So I I don't think it's out of the realm of possibility. Um, so that's one thing to note there. And I think that would keep it perhaps from being even wider. And another thing to note is the circumstances in which he won the Tim Tszyu fight. Um, stepped down on short notice, which, kudos to him. But Tim Tszyu was dealing with a really nasty gash that was just bleeding into his eyes all night. And it very clearly had an effect on him.
Yeah.
So I often wonder like how differently that fight, especially after the first few rounds of that fight, how they were going. I often wonder how it would have went if Tim Tszyu wouldn't have sustained that cut.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, nonetheless I feel pretty confident that Fundora should be a pretty pretty substantial favorite here.
Yeah, no, for sure. And That's what the bookies are telling us. If Fundora wins, will it be kind of by yeah? I think that's my final question for you, Thomas. Like Fundora, 21 wins, 13 stoppages. If Fundora is to win this fight, what do you see happening? Do you see a points win? Which has kind of happened for him a fair amount in his last couple of fights, or do you see him stopping Brooker as well?
Yeah, I see him getting him out of there. Like I mentioned, not the biggest puncher or anything, but I think he is a level or two above Booker, and I think he's going to show that. And that height and reach is no joke. It's going to be hard to get inside of that, and I can see, um, especially now since he's champ, and he's got a little bit more confidence. I can see him boxing a bit more responsibly than he has in the past, and just being better all the way around. And if he does that, yeah, I think the accumulation of punishment will get Booker out of there.
Yeah, yeah. Interesting. Couple more from me, Thomas. Virgil Ortiz is the interim WBC champion at super welterweight. We're going to ignore boxing politics and we're going to kind of suggest that possibly those two guys are the best in the division. We don't know if Crawford will ever fight at 154 again. Tim Zhu is another big contender, but he's kind of got a comeback to make soon, doesn't he? Other good fighters there, but I think possibly those two are the best two in the division who are going to stay in the division. Thoughts on do you have a favorite for that fight, Thomas? It'd be great to see it. It'd be great to see it this year, to be honest. But yeah, who would you favor in that one?
I would favor Virgil Ortiz for sure. I think he's a level or two above Fundora, and even though Fundora has that monster height and reach, like I mentioned, he hasn't really used it to his advantage in the past in some fights, and I could see Virgil getting inside of that reach and landing his shots and probably even getting him out of there, to be honest. But without going into too much detail about predictions or anything, I do feel I would love that fight, and I would feel like that would be a good opportunity for Ortiz to pick up two belts.
Yeah, look, for sure. And I think maybe some people might say those two guys aren't the best in the division, but I think the winner of that fight would probably be seen as the best, in my opinion, quite possibly. But yeah, we shall see. Look, we're in an era now where we can maybe talk about these fights happening with a bit more hope than beforehand. But we'll see. Sebastian Fundora still has a job to do on Saturday, and we don't know what Virgil Ortiz's next move is. Obviously, he was in action just yeah, over just a month ago, um, in Saudi Arabia. Final question for me, Thomas. I think one thing about Fundora is obviously he's known for his kind of, I don't want to say odd physique, but yeah, different sort of physique. He's obviously 6'5", has been at 154 pounds for 8.5 years now. I'm interested to see what he looks like on the scales on Friday, how easily he makes weight. Where's your head at with how much longer you expect to see him at this weight for? Because that is a factor, right? And I feel like he could fight at middleweight, he could possibly fight at super middleweight. But yeah, how long do you expect to see him at light middleweight for?
That's a good question. I think really depends on how long he can hold on to those titles.
Yeah,
I think I maybe I'm wrong. I haven't heard him talk too much about struggling to make 154 or like needing to move up soon, but he is 6'5" and he has that crazy reach and everything. He's a very long guy, so there's a lot of filling out to do, and I would not be surprised to see him go up to 160 or perhaps 168.
yeah.
So yeah, and a bunch of great fights lie ahead for him there as well.
Yeah, look, it's really interesting. Some fighters just kind of just hang on to a certain weight, don't they, for a long time. But looking at Fundora, Yeah, I don't think he can have too much longer at super welterweight, to be honest. But we'll see. See what happens on Saturday night in Las Vegas. Thomas, good to be joined by you as always, and I'll speak to you again very, very soon.
Likewise, thank you.